After what seemed to be the longest wait ever, we finally have the new iPad Pros. With the redesign to match the rest of Apple's mobile devices, such as the iPhone XS, this is a device that has been rumored for quite some time. But today we have it in our hands. Hey guys, it's Tech Infusion, and let me tell you why the 2018 iPad Pro is amazing, but why you may not want it. This year, the iPad Pros got a huge overhaul, which includes thinner bezels and a boxier square design. It feels really nice in the hands, and it almost feels like you're holding a very light MacBook Pro. Gone are the days of rounded iPads, and I'm super glad about that because this new design feels much more premium and looks better as well. So with this new design, these iPads are also thinner. It's 5.9 millimeters thick, or I should say thin, because this thing is crazy thin. You almost kind of feel like you're gonna break it, but don't worry about it because it's super sturdy. It has an all-new liquid Retina edge-to-edge display that has the same 120Hz ProMotion that we've seen in past generations. If you're wondering what liquid Retina is, it's a new type of display that Apple first engineered into the iPhone XR. Really, it only means that the corners are rounded using sub-pixel anti-aliasing, so they're not rough or jagged. The 120Hz refresh rate is really nice, and if you've used pretty much any iPad Pro in the past, you know what I'm talking about. It's great for watching movies or playing games, and even when swiping back and forth it just feels so smooth. Now when they say edge to edge, I'm not sure I'd use this term to describe this display, as it clearly doesn't go all the way to the edge. However, the little bezels that do remain are necessary, just so you can hold it and not accidentally tap the screen with your thumbs. So putting specs aside, the new display looks incredible, and although it's not any brighter or more colorful than previous models, the already great looking screen somehow just looks even better with the rounded and small bezel design. The iPad Pro can be purchased in an 11-inch screen configuration or a 12.9-inch. Now taking a peek inside Apple's new Pro tablet, you're gonna want to hold onto your seats because Apple is stepping up their game once again with the new A12X Bionic chip that's inside. If you thought last year's iPad Pro was fast, which it was incredibly quick, things just got faster. Inside we have an 8-core processor with 4 of the cores being high performance and the other cores are for efficiency. The 7-core GPU gets up to 2 times the performance, and Apple claims that it can produce console quality graphics, which is true, but when you take a look at the game selection in iOS, I wouldn't go trading in my Xbox quite yet. I will say it is just incredible what Apple is doing with their chips. The A12X chip is nearly comparable to the 2018 MacBook Pros when it comes to benchmark scores. But do remember that the iPad is running iOS and the MacBook is running macOS, so there is a huge difference there. Another change everyone saw coming was the removal of the home button. So now you'll navigate around your iPad with swipes and gestures, similar to the newer iPhones. I personally like this new way of navigating so much better, but it does take a little while to get used to if you've been using buttons this whole time. But once you learn it, you'll never go back. So with the lack of the home button means no Touch ID. And Apple has replaced this with Face ID, which is not a surprise at all. However, it's not your traditional Face ID because it works in any direction, which I'm very glad about. Your iPad will also tell you if you're covering the Face ID sensors with your palm, which is a small feature, but really makes you feel like Apple has put some thought into it. Finally, Apple has switched to USB-C on the iPad Pros, which opens up what you can do with the tablet a little bit more. You can import photos from your camera and even power a 5K display. While this change from Lightning to USB-C is a huge step, there is a downside. You've most likely heard about the lack of external storage support, and while I'm slightly frustrated about this, I don't find this to be extremely annoying since manufacturers can develop third-party apps to use with their storage device. I will say that for the price of the iPad Pro, it should come with support for external drives. However, we'll just have to live with this until Apple decides to open iOS more. That being said, you can still import photos from an SD card to your camera using an adapter. One other gripe I have with this change is the lack of fast charging. With the addition of USB-C, it would have been easy for Apple to integrate this, but no such luck here. Now, a feature I really like is the ability to charge your phone with the iPad Pro. If you're out and about and forget your external power bank, this is a great solution. So while we're talking about batteries, let's talk about the iPad Pro battery. Apple advertises 10-hour battery life, which I got pretty close to with normal use. When I lowered the screen brightness to about 25% and just browsed Safari and read emails, I was able to get around 12 hours, which really surprised me. With the new iPad Pros comes redesigned accessories, one of which is the Apple Pencil. In my opinion, they fixed everything that was wrong with the first model. It's made of a matte plastic that has a flat edge that makes gripping a lot easier. Not only is it for that, but it features a digital-like button similar to the AirPods. If you double tap the flat edge, it will switch between tools and notes, and Apple told us that third-party developers can program various uses for this feature as well. No longer do you have to charge the pencil using the lightning port on the bottom of your iPad. It just snaps right on the edge using magnets and instantly begins to charge. It still has super fast response time, so it almost tricks you into thinking you're using a real pencil. Now when it comes to the Smart Keyboard Folio, it's made of the same materials as past generations with just a few design tweaks, so there's nothing too different here. There are two different positions that you can put the iPad into, and I found them to be super handy for switching between my desk and couch. Although this is a very nice case that provides great protection and allows you to type pretty much anywhere, the fact that it costs $179 is kind of crazy, but if you can afford it, it's a great addition to your tablet. Overall, from a design and performance aspect, the new iPad Pro and its accessories are exceptional. But where the limitation comes in is in iOS. Due to the lack of available Pro applications, I feel as if this beast tablet is just a waste of money unless you have a specific app you want to use. I get that if you're an artist or you edit a lot of photos on the go, then the iPad Pro would be an essential part of your workflow. However, if you do things like animation or programming, the app support is just not there yet. I'd like to see support for a full version of Premiere, and I know we have Adobe Rush, but it's just really not the same. And maybe one day we'll get there, I'm just saying it's not there yet. I will mention, however, that the full version of Photoshop is coming to the iPad next year, which keeps me very hopeful that more apps are to come. Essentially, the iPad Pros are not quite to the point where they would replace my laptop, which is what Apple wants, but for most of my daily tasks, it's very close. Another thing I'd love to see in future updates is Apple opening up the file system in iOS. If we're going to be using our iPads as laptops one day, they're going to have to do this. Currently the Files app is pretty horrible, which I know a lot of you already know, but I can see it getting better and I'm hoping that's on the agenda at least for iOS 13. So all of that being said, should you purchase the new iPad Pro? If you don't see yourself using the new Apple Pencil or taking advantage of the incredible speed this tablet offers, I would advise saving your money. And speaking of money, these things are expensive. However, if you're a creator who travels a lot and you just want to work on a more mobile device, the 2018 iPad Pro would be the only tablet I'd consider. For those of you looking for a machine to just browse the web, read emails, or use for school, I'd recommend taking a look at the newly released MacBook Airs, or for an even lower budget, the iPads that were released earlier this year. Anyways guys, that's all for this video. Let me know what you think about the 2018 iPad Pros. And do you think iPads will ever replace laptops? As always, if you enjoyed this video or found it helpful in any way, please remember to leave a like and don't forget to comment, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you don't miss my next video. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and until next time guys, peace out.